Hello and welcome to Moonride, where we're channeling the man in the moon. Today I'm going to take another look with Mary and see what advice she has for us. I pretty much feel that major danger is over in our culture, society surrounding Trump. And now we have to sort of figure out how to rebuild our lives and how to get a little bit more out of them and how to escape this trap of sort of being transfixed by events. I don't want us to stop working towards a better world in a political way. That seems very important, and that seems like one of the messages we've been given. But I do think it's really appropriate that we look at some healing, we look at some practices to move forward, so we can get a little bit beyond the 3D consciousness, and also that consciousness that has good, bad, and that sort of division. That's old world thinking. New world thinking would be more unification. That might look divided, but it is not. Mary, how can we heal? Well, number one would be embrace healing. Find some ways that you can heal. And they might be different for different people. Some people might prefer camping in nature. Some people might prefer getting together with their friends. It might even be a nice thing to do as you get together with your friends to say, let's just focus on healing for a moment and close your eyes. Everybody sitting in this group right now, tell me what ideas come up for you when you think of peace, or even when you think of Mary. What comes up for you? How else can we heal? Accept who you are. All of us have faults. Accept who you are. They're faults that you're working on, great. But all of us have faults. Nothing wrong with having them. If you've been born with a lot of them, that just means you've chosen to do a lot of work in this lifetime. Right? If you're trying to lose 10 pounds, big deal, right? That's just something you were born in this lifetime to learn how to do. Or maybe even say, I don't care about the 10 pounds, it doesn't really matter in my life. Those are all good questions that you could be asking. Your life might have been a difficult life, but it's not boring. There's a lot to be said for this. And when you think of some people whose politics you find just terrible, it's probably because they're really simple, and they're for very simple minds, and for people who really want this very organized structure. And that's not the way the world is. It's kind of a crazy place where we are confronted all the time by certain realities, some of them involving ourselves. That's okay. Can you accept this? Can you accept that this is a life that you chose? That's a difficult thing to accept. Can you? Can you say that things are terribly wrong in the world, and I chose this life so that I could be in a sort of relationship with those things and work something out in terms of understanding? It's a lot easier to take if you do believe in reincarnation, and there's no reason to believe that just because someone says so, but it is easier, and if you investigate that, see if it's true for you, it will be helpful to you. Past life regression, that will really help you too, if you try, if that's available to you. Very beautiful images. It's like a halo. Remember the gold circle? I just realized that it's like a gigantic halo. And it's not a halo that hangs over one person's head. It's a halo that hangs over all of us. And even the worst person, even Donald Trump, sits under that halo. He has his own lessons in this lifetime to learn. We obviously are going to judge him on the 3D level, but in a greater macro level, this is just a journey for all of us. If we see something that's terrible to look at, that's a journey. If we see something beautiful to look at, that's a journey. Understanding the difference of the way those two things look is part of your journey. Again, see if you can accept that. Stop criticizing yourself. Can you accept you need to do some work and you're perfect? Can you accept that contradiction? Difficult, but it can be done. This is a rebirthing. No, they said in Christian world that Christ will be born again. This is it. It doesn't have to be a single person. It could be all of us. All of us are being given a chance to rebirth. There's some people who will choose not to do so, and they're desperately trying to stick to their old values. That's what Trump supporters are. People who are desperately trying to fix their old values onto a new world. You notice that they are not succeeding. What is succeeding is expansiveness, non-judgment, duality without duality. These are the things that are really happening. Look, if you go through this next year and you're just an open-minded person who does your best, who tries not to judge others themselves, you can judge their actions, but if you move forward like this, it's virtually impossible that you will not evolve. Simply by going forward with your best of intentions, with the broadest mind that is still protecting you, if you go forward with this intent, or even just the intent to be repaired and reborn in this sort of way, if you do that from here on in for a few months, over the next year, I would say continue it for the whole year. Even if you make mistakes, you have faults, don't worry about that. Just go forward with this sort of intent. If you do that, it is certain that you will achieve a much higher density, especially now at this time. This big window has opened up. People aren't really noticing it, but a huge window is opening up for all of us to evolve. It is practical and physical, but it goes beyond. Mary's kissing my forehead. It's the kind of thing that your mom does to you when you're sick. Yeah. It's a feeling that you have that everything's going to be okay. That's another thing that you can do. When you're meditating at some point, just try to conjure that feeling that despite the problems of the world, problems everywhere, all the negative stuff, that it's going to be okay. If you can conjure that feeling, it'll really sustain you. There might be difficulties in conjuring that feeling. There might be a lot of things getting in the way. You don't have to be there 24/7, but see if you can meditate on it for a couple of minutes and just push the cares out of the way and say, I'll think about those things later, I'll worry about my rent later. Right now, for the next 2 minutes, I'm just going to feel this kind of repair. You can, if you like, ask Mary to show up and help you. Be careful. There are, spirits around who'd like to make mischief. So you can ask, who are you? What do you want? Are you from the light? It should feel good in your heart, not neutral. Good. You should be going, yay, this is great. If that's the case, keep going. If it feels neutral or negative, stop, sage, do it again another time. Because that's not it's not a good way. If you feel negative at all, don't do it. It's an interloper. It's a negative spirit who's there to make problems for you. Not the devil per se, but negative stuff. You'll know when it's Mary. You'll feel it. She might make little gestures towards you. She might make her presence known in subtle ways. Like this, for example. When I'm channeling Mary, I try to bring blue into the situation because that is her color, right? And of course, I realize I'm wearing a red shirt, but guess what lighter I picked, right? It's nice to put things around that sort of encourage you. And you don't have to do Mary. There's a lot of other sources available to you. Mary might be a little bit more familiar. And she has none of the judgments associated with any religion. None of them. She is pure non-judgment. And that's the way the universe really is. It's here to teach you something. You'll have to be living in difficult circumstances sometimes to figure out who you are. But even if you make the wrong decision, ultimately there is no judgment. Yeah, it's all about just learning. This doesn't mean you should go do bad things, because that'll postpone your learning. I gotta say, I kind of want to continue the channel because it feels so good. Sometimes when you do this stuff, it just feels really great. I'll just say that Mary feels a lot less intellectual. It just feels good. It just feels like, I can't describe it. It feels very loving to me. Anything else that we need to know? She's telling me a no. Thanks so much for watching.